Hi, I'm going to be making a few tutorials on how to make a bounce track because a few people have been asking me how to do a few things, so I thought I'd do a few tutorials from start to finish on how I make my tracks, and hopefully it can give you some help. So yeah, basically all I've done here, I've just went start new, I've changed the tempo to 152. Normally a bounce is made from around about 150 to 155, but you can go lower, higher. It just depends on what you're making, what you want it to sound like. I've already made my bass for the song, which I've layered up on 6 different basses, which sound like this. Which altogether sound like this. Excuse me. So yeah, first off, what you want to do before you start your track, just to make it a bit more organised, just so you know what you're doing and where everything's going, is rename everything to what you're using. I've already renamed everything beforehand to save some time. Obviously I'll be using kick, verse kick, crash, loop, hat, which will be an open hat, bass, snare, vocals and FX. That'll just be for this tutorial. I may be adding some later on in later tutorials. That's all I'm going to be using for now. I've also renamed them down here, so it's just a bit more organised, know where everything is, know where everything's going. Also into your mixer, rename your mixer tracks as well. It's pretty important because every sample that you use you are going to be assigning to a mixer track, so you can just EQ your stuff, and basically you can sort your levels out and do a lot more things. It's a lot more easier. I've already assigned my basses to track 3 in my mixer, which is here. And see, I've already got it. I've already put a couple of effects on it. You don't have to worry about this right now. If you're just a beginner, maybe I'll talk a bit more about it in a later tutorial, but for now you won't really need to know about it. Okay, so what we're going to start off with is always have your snap online. When you're just laying things out, I always have it online. It's just easier. It always snaps straight to the line, and it's always going to be in time. So yeah. First off, I'm going to be picking a kick drum. Sounds pretty good. Assign it to your mixer track 1, or whatever mixer track you've done your kick on. Mine's on 1. What I do with every single one of my samples, I remove DC offset and normalise it. Yeah, so kick, keep on your kick there, so you know this is where you pick these, say whatever, say I want to use my bass, I've already renamed that to bass, and then I can use on my piano roll, or whatever. Then when I put it on here it'll be bass, click on that, you put it on here it'll be kick, and so on. So for my kicks, instead of just leaving it there and doing 4, so you can do it that way and do it like that, what I tend to do is just do 1, select that to 1, and then I can just do it individually. Then in case I just want to take one out like that, I can easily do it. It's just a bit faster. So you start off with a kick, pretty simple, basic. Now that's already got my effects on it. I've compressed it a bit. This is what it sounds out without Maximus, like compression, and without the EQ. So it sounds like with the EQ. And with the compression. So it just gives it a more punch. You don't really need to know about it if you're just beginning, to be honest. You can just more learning as you go along. What the EQ does is it just takes frequency out, and again I'll explain that maybe in a different tutorial. I'm not going to go in depth about it now. Okay, so next, I'll leave the reverse kick out for now. I'm not going to use it at the moment. Pick a cymbal. I'll pick one out of the Vec one because I like one in there. Oh, shit, wrong one. Crash. I'll just put it over my kick. Which is great. I like wasting time. I can rename these as well, if you like. I'm just going to leave them there. Crash will start on every 8 bars, and it'll build up on your 16ths. Sign it to your effects track, don't forget, like I have. I like that level. There we go. I've already got a couple of effects here. They're just sweeps, and I've already got them in time, so I don't need to time stretch them. I've already got it assigned to my effects track tape. So that's just basically at the start of the song, it's just a sweep down. It's just nice, I like it. And then you've got one for your build for your next one as well. Right, next, I'm going to pick a loop next. I've already got one in mind, which I like to use, is Mr. Gary Selects loop. Thank you very much, Gary. Very nice, I like it. Let's time stretch that to... always put it on auto, or pro default, whatever you want to use. I use auto. That's just so it stretches it, puts the pitch back to normal. You can do it by right clicking and press reset pitch as well. I just like to do that. That's good. Now I can pick a hi-hat. Actually, while I'm here, I'll do my reverse kick. Dum dum dum. Yep, I like it. Right, now a hi-hat. It's alright. See what it sounds like though first, before I pick it. Now what I've done there, I've used crossfade loop, so when I play it without crossfade loop, it'll play the full note, no matter how long I've got this. So say I've got it that big, it'll still play the full sample. I turn crossfade loop on, and it'll just play how long it is. So I'll keep it like that. I like that, and then put your hi-hat there. Really do that, to be honest. Yep. Next, I will get a snare for the build up. Don't really like these snares in one. Let's see what we're going for. I like that. Snare. Effects channel, snare, crossfade loop again because I want the notes to be played like how long they are. Now I'll take this offline now, because what that is there, that's one step, how long that note is. So if I want it to be half the size of that, I can't make it smaller without going on half a step. So if I want it half the size, I go on half step, and I can change it, or I can go on quarter a step, make it even smaller. That's the only time I really change it, is when I'm on piano roll. And then make sure you change it back. There you go, this is the volume of your notes at the bottom. If I right click, I can drag them and change them all at the same time. So I'll make it rise up to here, and then from here I'll make it go back down. So it'll build up, then go back, and the end. And you've got a vocal here, so I'm going to cut this into. Oh, it's actually not going to kick until there, but I actually want this on the start of it. There.
One night I woke up late. One night I woke up. One night I woke up. One night I woke up. One night I woke up late.
And then it's going to kick into the bass from there. Always remember to do this. Always save your work. Try and save it I try and save it every 10 minutes or as much as I can. Because when your FL Studio crashes, and believe me it will, at some point or another, and if you haven't saved your work in 3 hours, that's 3 hours of work lost that you're not going to get back. And it is quite annoying. So it's just try and remember to save your work. Right, next off I'm going to kick in the bass, an intro bass into the song. And then after that it's going to kick in with the vocal. So I'm just going to play the loop straight through it. I'm not going to leave a gap there or anything, so it goes.
One night I woke up late. One night I woke. One night.
So you can do anything that you want. You can just play it and go.
One night I woke up late.
And then kick it in, or you. It's just what you think sounds better, really. Sometimes I like to use a little fill or something like that. So if you go on your loops and fills, crash. Basically, there's a crash. Delete that. Put that there, and it can go.
One night I woke up late.
Like that. Get my snare. Get one of them. Oh no, actually I want this smaller one there. This is going to be a kick in, I don't want it a massive sweep. Again, get your crash build up. There we go. Yeah. Now I can make my bass. I know what key my bass is in. Originally this song is in D. So I'm going to start with D. Showing that down, get it in time.
One night I woke up late. One night I woke up late. One night I woke up.
Let me turn that down a little bit.
One night I woke up late.
Right. Select all, copy, paste. Change that like that, and then copy and paste it again. So basically, this is what the pattern sounds like.
One night I woke up late. One night I woke up late.
Yeah. Actually, I might do a little.
One night I woke up late. One night I woke up late. One night I woke up late.
So I'll leave that little fill out there actually. Maybe put a little effect somewhere. Get off. Don't know what effects I can use. Really, effects. Perfect. Snare, blah blah blah. I don't really know. Put under a sweep.
One night I woke. One night I woke. One night I woke up late. One night I woke up late.
Actually, I'll just time stretch it to there. That's what it's probably supposed to be at.
One night I woke up late. One night I woke up late.
Right, now for my next bass pattern, just going to change it a little bit. There's the bass pattern for there. I can use that fill now. I'll take that off there. Delete that. Cut that.
One night I woke up late. I couldn't stop thinking about the games that we played. And so I took a ride deep into my mind where I got nothing to hide.
Delete that. Reverse kick there. Maybe put a little one there. Hi-hats in. Loop. Crashes. Need to cut that. Whoops. Maybe filter the bass down there a bit. So I can pick a fruity filter. For the bass I like to swap it round, bandpass up, frequency down. Something like that, maybe. And I can also do that at the end here.
I didn't notice anything until you were within.
So let's see what I've got up to now.
One night I woke up late. One night I woke up late. I couldn't stop thinking about the games that we played. And so I took a ride.
Maybe need a little fill at the end of there. See if this one's any good. Yep. That's all I'm going to do for the first tutorial. It's basically just an intro. Yes. So I'm going to be doing the next one. Will probably be a breakdown coming from here. Might break into some chords or I'm not sure yet. I'm just going to have a little think about it. I'm going to start another one and upload that soon. If you've got any questions, don't hesitate to either comment or inbox me, and I'll be glad to help you. So I'll see you soon.